Hey everybody, JC here, and welcome to a Thursday edition of live streaming or whatever we want to call it. But tonight we have a pretty full house, it looks like, with Blake is in the house. What's up? El Vampiro, Michael, Allen, Boulevard Trash 99. Welcome everybody. So I figured today's main topic of discussion would be Marvel Legends. I've got some news I wanted to share with you on the Marvel Legend front, but we'll talk about some other things. Maybe towards the end of the stream, we'll talk a little bit Book of Boba Fett about this week's episode, but we'll probably get into some spoilers. So I'll wait till the end in case people who haven't seen it yet want to like kind of exit a little bit early. Jailbert, what's up? So I switched computers this week, and I forgot to make some adjustments on my streaming software. So that's why it's a little bit different here today. A little more low tech than usual. Let's see. Toy Bandit is in the house. Toy Master 54 is in the house. CM Brock is in the house. Neil is in the house. So besides Marvel Legends, we'll just talk about whatever else is on people's minds per usual. Kind of a busy week this week, I would say. We had some, Star Wars reveals yesterday. Trying to think what else went on this week. I don't know. It's one of those weeks where on the one hand it feels like it's been kind of a long week, but on the other hand I'm like, it's already going to be Friday tomorrow. Are you kidding me? The handsome Potato 12, what's up? Neil says, spill all the Marvel Legends secrets. I'm not going to spill them all, but we are going to talk a few things here. So we can start off. So if you caught my news video yesterday or been on Marvelous News today, then you probably saw my latest rumor report about there being a new Mojo figure coming for the Marvel Legend line. So this is the Toy Biz one. This was a Build-A-Figure back in the day, and originally I was going to give you a closer look at this thing on the review studio, but that's one of the things I can't access because I don't have my I didn't get things set up quite right in time. But if you don't have this figure, if you have this figure, it's a pretty solid figure. It definitely still stands up, I would say. Hasbro's going to have a hard time topping this one. Very much like the MODOK figure they did last year, which, the Toy Biz MODOK was still pretty solid overall. My two complaints with this Toy Biz one is the legs. These legs don't really hold the weight, so you have to kind of set them up to the side. In fact, they're not really supposed to. You can kind of see on the base here, they're these little clear plastic things. So they're not. This wasn't really made for these legs to support the Mojo base. So, but it would be nice, I feel like, if they had actually made these legs so that a little more articulated, and then a little more durable, so they could actually prop the thing up completely off the ground. But and the only other thing that I would consider a minor complaint is he might be considered a little bit small on the small side, but and I could see the Hasbro one being a little bit bigger, but probably not going to be significantly bigger. Now this is the Hasbro one is going to have a $50-ish price point. It's like one of the mega deluxe figures, again, like the MODOK figure they did last year. So and I don't have an exact, I don't know exactly when it's going to be released, or when Hasbro is going to officially announce it. So of course we will treat it as rumor until Hasbro does officially confirm it. But again, for those of you who don't have Mojo or just want it, for whatever reason wanted a new Mojo, it looks like we are going to be getting that sometime this year. So that's the first bit of news. Again, I mean, this figure is just, I mean, the detail on it. I mean, just like he's got the little Mojo faces over here on the sides, and just the paint detail. I definitely don't see Hasbro matching the paint detail on this one. Like with many Toy Biz figures, the paint detail was usually far better than what we see from Hasbro. So I definitely don't see Hasbro matching that. And yet, you got the really nice detail in the back there. So now again, this was originally released as a Build-A-Figure, so just like the MODOK. So now we're going to get him as a deluxe figure. Oh snap, can we combine MODOK head to Mojo's belly in form of Voltron? Hope this means we see Longshot and Spiral as well. I have not seen anything on Longshot, and off the top of my head, I don't remember seeing anything for Spiral yet. I mean, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but I have not seen anything. I don't think. Longshot, definitely not. I'm trying to think with Spiral, but no, I have not seen anything yet with Spiral. But I've been seeing that comment a lot today about people wanting to see Longshot and Spiral. They're going to come eventually. One says, hey, JC, thanks for the coverage of Mattel's rotten behavior. That was, so I don't know. He's talking about my video I did on, I lost track on what, Tuesday, where I talked about Collect Jurassic getting their Instagram kind of wiped out because they'd gotten their hands on some toys from the new movie, which, by the way, we got the trailer for the Jurassic Park World Dominion trailer. So now that we've seen the trailer, it's probably now now we can look at the toys, which is how those things usually work. But Collect Jurassic looked like he got his Instagram reinstated. So I don't know for sure if it's because Mattel removed their copyright claim, or he was contesting it through Meta for a second time, I believe. And so maybe that was successful. I'm not a lawyer, so it's hard for me to speak to that. I'm not going to give people legal advice, but I mean, in my opinion, I definitely would not consider that to be copyright. Being he bought the toys from legally, from a retailer that was selling them. They probably weren't supposed to be selling them, but regardless, he bought them and then took pictures of his own toys and posted them. So a copyright would be like, again, in my opinion, if it was like a stock photo put out by Mattel that they had gotten their hands on and then had posted that would theoretically be the property. Those types of images would be the property of Mattel, and therefore they could file a copyright claim under those conditions. But in this particular case, I don't really see how copyright stands up. But that's basically when a company wants something removed, that's really all they can do is file a copyright claim. So kind of everything falls into copyright, just because of the way the platforms themselves, I think, are set up. But definitely when when something gets out that is spoilers for like a big blockbuster movie, movie studios generally will be very quick to jump in and put pressure on the companies, of whoever's product is out there. And exactly, I don't know what it is that they do or say, but they seem to basically strongly encourage that stuff get removed. So I think that's what happened in this particular case. I didn't even see the toys, so I'm not sure what exactly the toys even look like. I never saw the review in question, or the picture, so I don't know. I mean, again, we just got the trailer today for the movie, and I mean, the trailer looks pretty cool. Um, I guess in a lot of ways, just because you've got the original cast members and the new cast members kind of coming together. I kind of hope this will be like the final movie. I feel like this is one of those franchises that maybe has run its course. So this looks like maybe it would be a good movie to end things on. I doubt it, especially if it makes money. They'll probably crank out another one. But the trailer looked pretty good, that came out today. But I don't know, I don't know if there was anything in the toys that was kind of spoilerish to what we saw in the trailer today. But like I said, you always got to be careful with anything that's related to a movie, a movie where like we haven't even seen the trailer, because if you start posting that kind of stuff, you definitely can find your life gets a little more complicated. Like for instance, like let's say Hasbro had made a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man figure to be released in keeping with the movie, like right after the movie came released. They didn't, and probably the reason why they did. I mean, one of the biggest leaks for movies generally is toys. Whether it's like a Funko, which Funko and Lego stuff are always leak out seemingly. Images of those types of things often leak out for movie stuff. Usually it's not like sometimes it is, but usually it's not like an action figure from like a Hasbro or Mattel. Oftentimes it's things like Lego and Funko Pops that will leak out. But like say Hasbro was going to do a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man for No Way Home, and that figure somehow got out into the wild before the movie hit theaters. Like if I were to post that, if I got a hold of that, like images or the figure itself, and I posted that, I mean, I wouldn't post it in large part. I mean, it is a major spoiler, and it's not cool to ruin movies for people. But also, I would be, I would almost guarantee I'd be getting contacted by some lawyers or something, and having that taken down immediately if I were to post something like that. So, I don't even, when I see stuff like that leak out, I kind of try and avoid it as much as possible. Because, definitely it's not really something, again, as I kind of said in that video earlier in the week, if you're aspiring, YouTuber or whatever, you post news or you want to be an influencer or something, my advice is stay away from movie stuff like that until it's either officially announced by the companies, or until at least like we've seen the trailer of said movie or something. If it's something you've seen in the trailers, if it's based on something you've seen in the trailers, so it's no longer deemed spoilerish, then it's probably not going to cause a stir, or as much as a stir, as I should say. But just in general, my recommendation is you avoid that kind of stuff. Let's see, we're back on Galactus is estimated for fall of 2022. Yeah, I think that's originally what it said. So just today, or like before I came on here, I haven't heard from Hasbro Pulse, but I got a FedEx thing. Yeah, I have the FedEx app, and I get emails whenever there's something FedEx, and it looks like my Razor Crest is getting ready to ship out, and right now at least it's saying it'll be here Wednesday. Now I don't know. I remember with the Sentinel when that happened, the actual arrival date didn't mean much because it hadn't shipped out and they just generated the shipping label. But hopefully it will be shipped. I know some people have already started to get their Razor Crest, their HasLab Razor Crest. So hopefully I will actually, maybe get it next week. Oh, definitely. And I'm sure Toy Wiz, I mean, Toy Wiz ended up having to pull those down, and I'm sure Toy Wiz, you know, again, I don't know exactly, like a lot of times I don't know if Toy Wiz buys directly from Mattel. They often will solicit things that other e-tailers are not yet able to solicit. I don't know why that is exactly. And I don't want to get into too many kind of technical particulars about the retail business, but I'm sure, at the very least, Toy Wiz got a cease and desist, and we're told to take them down immediately and quit selling them immediately. So, yeah, I mean, it takes a little bit longer. See, again, going back to, why didn't Mattel just reach out to this individual YouTuber and say, hey, take these down? And that does happen sometimes. It does. But this was over the weekend, and they wanted it. I'm sure they needed to get it down, everything down as quickly as possible. And so the quickest way to do that is, when it's in regards to social media, is to contact the social media platform and get them to take it down. Mattel probably didn't even think that, like, necessarily Instagram was going to completely, like, take the channel down completely. Mattel just wanted those particular, I'm sure just wanted those particular images taken offline. And I'd have to go back and brush up on my Instagram policies in regards to copyright, but it seems like, like YouTube gives you 3 dings. So like, he did get the video that he had posted down, and he got a ding, but the entire channel didn't come down because it was just his first time getting a copyright strike. But I guess for whatever reason, Instagram's a little more sensitive, and they just take your channel down. So I doubt Mattel's intention was to have the guy's complete Instagram channel taken down. They just simply wanted those images pulled down, and so they filed the copyright strike. And then Instagram, basically said, "Yep, your channel's done. You got a copyright strike." So um, I have a feeling that that's what happened there. Neil, I'm curious to why your channel doesn't get giant boxes of free figures like Shartimus, who sent a box of free figure. I do sometimes. I mean, I don't do I off. I mean, I don't. First of all, I'm not a reviewer per se. Okay, I'm not an influencer per se. Um, so I label myself essentially, I report news on this stuff. I do occasional review here and there, and things like that. But when I do get boxes like that, um, I don't do these. Ooh, let's do an unboxing video. I don't know. I've never, for me in particular, I've never found videos like that to be particularly interesting, because it's generally stuff that's already out on shelves. It's not like you're getting a box of like never be seen toys. So, usually oftentimes it's stuff that, you could go out and buy already, and reviews and all that stuff are already up there. So I just, in particular, it's not something I found very interesting. And if I don't personally find it that interesting, I often just don't, you know, do that kind of thing. So I probably, don't get as much as that stuff as some of those guys do these days, but I'm totally cool with that. But I also, even when I do, I often usually don't do like these unboxing videos, or go and post all these pictures on it. Sometimes I do. Like, I think, I think when I got I got a box of stuff from Hasbro last year at PulseCon time with like some of those exclusives and stuff. So I did post up some images on Instagram and things like that. You could even say Mattel spoiled it by allowing toy. Well, yeah, but so And again, I don't know exactly. I don't even know when those toys. There's always usually an embargo date on that stuff. So companies are supposed to abide by embargoes, but a lot of times we don't. Even like Walmart and Target, you'll see those embargo dates on the boxes, but yet the stuff ends up out on shelf because nobody's paying attention to the embargo date. So, I mean, it's supposed to be the responsibility of the retailer. I mean, in this particular case, in my opinion, probably the one at biggest fault here would be Toy Wiz for selling something early that they probably weren't supposed to be selling early. But, you know, and again, I'm sure they got, told to take that stuff down immediately um, when they got wind of where it was coming from. Yeah, Toy Wiz has been around a really long time. I think 30 years, 30 or over 20, but I want to say on their website it says 30 years. So yeah, they've definitely been around a long time. In fact, and I don't know if this is still the case, but I think the guy who at least started Toy Wiz was actually related to the guy that had started Toy Fair magazine and Wizard magazine. I think. I don't 100% quote me on that, but I remember something to that regard, that the guy who started and at least originally ran Toy Wiz was related to the guy that had started Wizard magazine and Toy Fair magazine back in the day. Neil, I don't have any Valverse action figures, so no, I don't have any strong opinions. I'm still waiting on my Sergeant Slaughter figure to arrive from Big Bad Toy Store. So, my opinion is, I wish that figure would arrive. I asked the guys at Big Bad Toy Store what's up with that, and basically they said it looks like it's still out at sea. So, I mean, obviously he Valverse got stuff that he sent out directly to people, bought it from him directly, but I guess the stock that they had ordered for or gotten or whatever, for third party retailers have not come in yet. But to your question, I don't have a strong opinion on on that line since I don't have any of the figures. The Blue Beast rumor, that's for the VHS or the orange retro card. So Jimmy, well, we'll take that as a segue. So again, rumor, but looks like a new Beast figure coming this year. I don't know if it's just the same figure we got with some slight deco changes. That's my assumption, but I don't know that for sure. But there is a new Blue Beast coming. It's actually looks like it's going to be part of the 20th anniversary line. Not the which I, if I was just guessing, I would have pegged it for the VHS line, but it looks like it's going to be Blue Beast is going to be part of that Marvel Legend 20th anniversary line. So based on what I've seen at least, and it will have a higher price point than the regular figures like the Captain America and the Iron Man figure. It's more of like it's priced at more of like a deluxe type figure. So but part of that anniversary line. So uh there you go. Good question, Jimmy. Thoughts on Talker? I try to stay away from talking about other people online. I don't know him. uh I have met him in person. He seems like an okay guy, but I don't. It's not like we're close buddies or anything. So, and I don't watch a lot of people's out there's content just because I don't have the time. I barely have time to watch my own content. So I don't have any strong opinions there. Michael wants to. I believe Deadpool did appear in the original X-Men animated series, at least briefly. But I'm sure we will see Deadpool. I I I just know it's a blue beast. I don't know anything more specific. I haven't seen the figure, so I couldn't answer that. Again, I suspect it will be a variation of the one that we already got, but I don't know that for sure. But I do know there is a beast, a blue, not like a human beast, but a blue beast coming. Or at least I've seen indications of that. And again, we'll treat it as rumor until Hasbro officially confirms it. What's up, Henry? Doing good. Thanks, man. Always appreciate when you guys are watching or reading. If you guys go to the sites and get your news from me, that's just as good as watching my videos. If you do both, that's the best overall. But Dan Who's Reviews is in the house. So Mojo Deluxe Mojo figure coming, Marvel Legends this year, and Mega Deluxe, I guess they call it, very much like the MODOK figure, and then also Beast, some version of Blue Beast in the 20th anniversary line. Nick says, anyone know where the Star Wars Black Series 212th Battalion Clone Trooper is? It's a Walgreens. Your guess is as good as mine on most of those Walgreens exclusives. I believe there were indications that figure had arrived here in the US, but Walgreens, I don't think anyone's found any at Walgreens as far as I know. I don't track the Star Wars quite as closely as like the Marvel Legends. So, but I don't think anyone's actually found that figure yet. Hopefully it will show up fairly soon, but I couldn't tell you for sure. I mean, I'm with you guys on the Walgreens. I feel like if Walgreens can't do a better job of getting this stuff out there, they need to stop being given exclusives. That probably is not going to happen. But as long as they're willing to pay, they'll I'm sure continue to get them. But I feel like Hasbro needs to, I mean, you got to be a little bit lenient because I'm sure shipping issues is part of the problem. But I feel like with Walgreens, like especially with the Marvel Legends stuff, I mean that stuff was, they were putting less and less of that stuff online even before the major shipping issues started to happen. And so, I mean, like I said, I think Quasar is barely even shown up here in the U.S. and they're already showing off images for figures in the new year. Baron Zemo's already hitting overseas. I said, I think it was last week I said be patient, but I said screw it. I went on and got Baron Zemo and Quasar from Robot Kingdom. So I ended up, I mean, the actual prices that Robot Kingdom sell the figures for isn't too bad. It's a little bit marked up, but not too bad. Where you end up paying with Robot Kingdom is for the shipping. So I ended up paying more than what I would have if I had waited for Walgreens. But I was just like, screw it. I'm just going to get it. Robot Kingdom's a sponsor of the sites, so I don't mind supporting them. And it's not like you're buying from a scalper. So I'm paying a little bit more, but even when they start to show up, who knows how easily they'll be able to get. And I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to get it from Robot Kingdom, which is ridiculous. I mean, that I have to go to an overseas retailer to buy something that should be readily available here in the US is frankly kind of ridiculous. But yeah, that and I didn't get Binary because Binary I'm not as much. I wanted Quasar. That's out of the current Walgreens exclusives that we know of. Quasar was the one I definitely wanted for sure. But I decided that after seeing images and stuff of that Baron Zemo, it was pretty cool. So I decided to go on and get that Binary. If Walgreens ends up eventually, putting it up online where I can actually get it from there, I'll get it. But otherwise, I'll just pass on Binary. I'm undecided on Jigsaw. That one hasn't shown up yet. But Jigsaw, I'll play it by ear. But But yeah, those Walgreens exclusives are a pain in the butt. Oh well, thanks, man. Appreciate it. But yeah, I got it from Robot Kingdom, so yeah, I'm paying the shipping from them. I'm good now. I mean, it would have been nice if I could just gone to Walgreens and gotten it from them. But yeah, I got it from, or it's on the way. It hasn't arrived yet, but it's on the way. So it'll be here probably next week. It and Quasar. But always appreciated the offer, man. Yeah, binary to me. I mean, like I said, if I see it, if Walgreens puts it up online, I'll get it. But I just, even though she's apparently making a reappearance in the comics, um, but but yeah, binary isn't as important a character for me personally. Blake's moving to Miami, so he's gonna get all the Walgreens. He's going to Florida where there's like a Walgreens on every freaking corner. That's how I got Nova, even though they ended up finally uh, getting Nova online. But that's how I got my Nova figures. I went to visit my dad in Florida and was able. I saw it twice in Florida. I went to two Walgreens when I was in Florida. I was prepared to go to more because I when I was down there, I was like, I'm going to get Nova when I'm down there. But the first Walgreens I went into, there he was sitting on the. It was only one at the first Walgreens, but then I later, because I needed to pick something up for my dad, I went into another Walgreens, and there was two at the other Walgreens. So I was like, damn, I wish the Walgreens around here carried these that well. But yeah, Blake, man, if you happen to see like Jigsaw or Binary, let me know. Nice, Jerry. Miami sinking. Nova was all over Chicago, saw dozens. Well, see, like the thing for me is I don't have a lot of Walgreens around me. In fact, it was only until a couple years ago that I had any Walgreens around me. It used to be there was no Walgreens in this area. Now there was a Walgreens that opened up as a Walgreens that's maybe 30 minutes or so away, and then there's another one that's maybe 35 to 40 minutes away, which I'm not going to drive all that way and then likely not find anything anyway. But the one that's like was 30 minutes away never had anything. I mean, their toy department was, they had a couple baby toys, and that was it. Now, in the past, I think maybe it was 2 years ago, a Rite Aid converted to a Walgreens that is maybe, 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes away. So that one is now at least close. But every time I've gone in there, I generally never see any Marvel Legend figures or like really old ones. But I did end up finding the Silver Centurion Iron Man finally in that particular Walgreens. But that was the last Walgreens exclusive Marvel Legend figure that I saw in these parts. Now, granted, I don't go to the store every day. I don't hit these stores up on a daily basis because I don't have the time to do that. And I think it's kind of ridiculous that that's what you have to resort to in order to find things at retail. But but the couple when I go into Walgreens, I generally don't see anything. All right, so getting back to the Marvel Legends rumors. So, so all my rumors I'm going to be sharing with you today are in regards to the 20th anniversary line. Now, not that they generally extend me the same courtesy when they repeat stuff that I've put out there long ago, but I do recall the YouTuber Rectacular, I think, put out a video talking about these. But I've so giving him credit for, I guess, being the first to find these listings. But I've seen from my own sources these listings as well, which is why I'm bringing them to you today. So, initially with the Marvel Legend 20th anniversary line, we know of the 4, the Captain America, the Iron Man, the Hulk figure, and then Toad, which is we haven't seen, but Hasbro has officially confirmed that Toad is the 4th figure of that initial 20th anniversary run. Now, I've known since last year that there's going to be at least 8 additional figures, 20th anniversary figures in the line that's put out over the course of the year by Hasbro. So, but I didn't know until I hadn't seen anything for myself until here just recently what those 8 figures were going to be. So the Blue Beast is one of them. And again, that one is actually priced higher than the other figures in the 20th anniversary line. So almost like a deluxe figure. All the 20th anniversary figures are more expensive than regular Marvel Legend figures. But the Beast is a little bit higher price than the regular figures. And then the other figure that is also like that is we are getting an Apocalypse figure in the 20th anniversary line, which I'm guessing is going to be some type of variation of this one that we got previously. And like the Beast, that's going to have a little bit higher price point. So, but that should be Apocalypse is one of the 8 additional figures that we are getting that should be getting, I should say. Again, not 100% confirmed by Hasbro. So rumor, but should be getting in that 20th anniversary line sometime this year. Now these will likely be offered. This isn't like a wave. They're sporadically releasing these over the course of the year. So, and I don't know what order. These will come out in or anything like that. Strangely enough, we apparently are going to get a new Scorpion figure in the 20th anniversary line, which again, I'm assuming is going to be some type of variation of this one that we got. Maybe with a more classic look to it. I don't know. We are getting a War Machine figure in the 20th anniversary line, it looks like. Now, the War Machine has a normal price point, and the last War Machine we got was a deluxe figure, so I don't think it's a reissue of that figure. So my best guess is we're going to get a Capcom version, and probably is going to be a repaint of this figure. So the game behind me, essentially the War Machine is just a black and white version of this armor. And Toy Biz did a version of this back in the day as part of a 2-pack with a Mandarin figure, I believe it was. So I believe, and my guess, that purely guess, I know there's a War Machine. I know it's at the regular price, but my guess is it's going to be a repaint of this particular the modular Iron Man figure in the black and white figures, like in the video game. So Coco agrees with me that War Machine will be a modular repaint. Now, so let's put us up to. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so that's 4 additional figures on top of the initial 4. So there should be at least 4 more figures in the line. Now, based on the listings I've seen, we are getting another Captain America figure on top of the one that's already starting to see release now. I don't know how it's going to differ. Maybe it's going to be based on the Marvel vs. Capcom game somehow. Maybe it'll be a figure with a shield without holes in it. I don't know. But there should be some other version of Captain America released in the 20th anniversary line. I guess it could be a Bucky cap for all I know, or a Falcon cap, or something along those lines. All I know is it's listed as Captain America. So, but there should be another Captain America figure of some type coming in the 20th anniversary line. And that will, again, have a regular price point like the other figures. Mario Cruz, Starjammer 5 to 6 pack. Sorry, I can't help you there. I haven't seen anything along those lines, but I will tell you one of the probably coolest figures that is listed within this 20th anniversary line is Firelord. So I know a lot of us suspected that we were going to get Firelord released. I think some of us thought it would be in a retro Fantastic Four wave or what have you, but it looks like Firelord is slated for the 20th anniversary line. So Firelord looks like it's definitely happening this year. Yeah, Bucky Cap is a possibility. Like I said, it's just listed as Captain America, so that is a possibility. And yeah, I would agree. If it is Bucky Cap, it'll probably be on that new Vulcan mold. Power Turtles Busters. Any word on a Marvel versus Capcom 2-pack like Toy Biz? No, I've not heard anything like that. I don't expect to see like Capcom figures coming from Hasbro in the 6-inch line. Probably, I can't say this for sure, but just speculating, my guess is there'd probably be some licensing red tape on that, being other companies do similar scales of the Capcom characters. So, but I have not seen anything that would suggest that. However, as another figure that I've seen in the 20th anniversary line, and this one is strange. So, a Sentinel. Now, it's listed as the same price as the regular figures in the 20th anniversary line. So, even if it was, say, I know I've seen some people speculating that it's a Capcom Sentinel, from the Capcom game, like the X-Men Children of the Atom game, which was not nearly as, it was a little bit bigger than a normal size character, but wasn't like, your normal Sentinel height. But even in that that version of the Sentinel was bigger than regular figures. So, like with the Apocalypse and like with the Beast, if that's what it was, I feel like it would have a higher, have that little bit higher price point like Beast and Apocalypse. This has the same price point as the regular figures. So it could be a Capcom version. I don't know, but I feel like I said, I feel like it would be, if it was at all accurate, it would have to be a little more detailed and bigger than a regular figure, and therefore the price would be a little bit higher. But the price on it again is the same as like the Captain America figure and the Iron Man and such. So I don't know. I don't know what other kind of Sentinel. I mean, there's the Sentinels in the X-Men side scroller which are basically normal size, but I don't think I've ever once heard somebody say, "Man, I wish we got action figures of those Sentinels from that game." So I don't know. We'll have to see on that one, but some type of Sentinel is apparently coming in the Marvel 20th anniversary, Marvel Legend 20th anniversary line. Let's see. I think that brings us up to 7 figures on top of the initial 4. Now, the last one that I have indication on is some type of Mega Deluxe Spider-Man related figure, possibly connected to Into the Spider-Verse. So there definitely appears to be some type of Spider-Man related, $50 price point type figure. Now, I know I've seen from other indications that there's going to be, as part of the Spider-Man 60th anniversary, that Penny Parker and her bot, which might fit that. But again, previous information I've seen would indicate that's going to be part of the 60th anniversary line. So I don't know, maybe a Kingpin figure, even though that $50 would be, even if it was a good size Kingpin, would be kind of hefty. I don't know. So I don't have any specific details, and most of what I have is somewhat vague. So that one definitely keep in a grain of salt, other than to say that it definitely looks like there's some type of Spider-Man related $50 type figure coming in the 20th anniversary line. So but that's what I have for you guys today. Well, even Spider Hulk, which again, I won't say is impossible, even though, like I said, indications are that it's going to have some type of connection to the end of the Spider-Verse movies. But Spider Hulk, I mean, a $50 Spider Hulk figure, that would be maybe. SH figure, yep. They announced that last week or teased it. They haven't shown any images, but they are definitely doing Toby and Andrew Spider-Man figures for the SH Figuarts line. I have not heard anything from Hasbro. I totally think they will at some point. But, going back to our earlier discussion with like the Mattel thing, a lot of times when a movie studio doesn't want to risk something leaking out, they will not share information with the toy companies. And so, which basically means the toy companies can't start working on said items until after the movie's out. And it usually, it takes a couple years once they start to, production on a figure. It's not like they can just crank out a figure from start to finish in a couple of months. So I have a feeling that probably most of those Spider-Man No Way Home characters were probably kept secret even from the toy companies, which is probably why it's possibly we wouldn't see a delay. I've also heard some indications that like there's definitely not, I won't say definitely, but strong indications that there is not going to be another No Way Home wave this year, maybe next year, but not this year. So if we saw any more No Way Home figures, they would likely be some type of single releases, maybe store exclusives. But I have a feeling, we'll probably see more from that movie next year. Sorry, I'm just reading down your guys' comments here. Coco wants Shuma Gorath. So an MCU version, a comic version, a Marvel versus Capcom version. I feel like, we could maybe see a Marvel versus Capcom version, but or Marvel, a Capcom video games version, which wasn't that big, but there's a Lego one coming for the movie. Power Turtle says he's all MVC, Marvel vs. Capcom, but with no Capcom, I don't know if I'd bite. Yeah, I feel like licensing would. I mean, they did do a couple of those in the 3 3/4 inch line, but again, nobody's doing Capcom 3 3/4 inch stuff, so they probably were able to clear the red tape on that. But when you start getting into 6 or 7 inch scale, there are other companies doing figures in that scale, and so I feel like that would make it more difficult for Hasbro to do any characters for that. Still want 2099 love. Other than Spider-Man, I don't think I've seen any indications of like other 2099 characters. I'm with you there. I wouldn't mind seeing like Doctor Doom 2099, maybe Punisher. What's up, Blade Runner? Welcome. I haven't seen anything for Bagley Spider. I don't know if they would, even if they did a Spider-Man figure based on that artwork, I don't know if it would ever be listed as that. So Jerry says he remembers Wonder Woman. I don't even remember Wonder Woman Legos. Oh yeah, Salome's here, folks. So switching gears from Marvel, let's talk a little Star Wars. So you got what did you guys think of this week's official Star Wars reveals on Wednesday, or for that matter, last Friday's Transformer reveal? So Friday's Transformer reveals, the one I was most excited about was the Sludge Dinobot figure from the movie, the Legacy movie line. That one I'm 100% getting. I believe it's going to go up for pre-order on the 24th or 25th of this month. So, and that'll be available everywhere. But that one I am definitely most excited for. The Junkion figure, I mean, I got Wreck-Gar, but honestly, Wreck-Gar is probably the only Junkion I've really been that interested in getting. I don't think I've ever said, man, I wish we got a whole bunch of different Junkions. So I probably, if I see it in the store or something, would probably pick that one up, but I don't, it's not like one as much as I was gung-ho. I mean, for me, the movie, the studio series movie stuff was the most exciting. I'm not really into Beast Wars, so all that Beast Wars stuff really didn't do much for me. But definitely that Dinobot figure is going to be a must-have for me. And hopefully we'll get, now we just need Snarl and Swoop, which I'm sure we'll probably get eventually, but I was hoping we were going to see like some more Insecticons. I wouldn't mind getting all the Insecticons, maybe all the Stunticons. Rodney says, there were great. I pre-ordered the entire wave of Black Series 6. Yeah, from that wave 32. Like for me, I definitely want the Bad Batch figures. I want the Echo and the Omega, so I can round out that team. I've got all the others, so I definitely want those. Ahsoka. I mean, I have like the Ahsoka from the Rebels cartoon, which isn't terribly different, but I probably will go on and get the Mandalorian / I guess her own TV series Ahsoka figure. The client that I could leave, he's dead. Wasn't that major of a player in the show. Probably the coolest thing about the client is he comes with that vault, that carry safe thing. The Dark Trooper, I definitely want to get one or two of, even though they are at that $34 price tag. But I definitely want to get the two Dark Trooper figures, or at least one, and maybe two Dark Trooper figures. When I army build, I usually only do two tops. I don't like go all out on army building, but Dark Trooper was definitely a cool one. One that I told you guys about long before Hasbro. Another rumor report that was confirmed from me. And they also confirmed Saw Gerrera, which will be a deluxe figure. I told you guys about that one originally. And I'll get Saw Gerrera, even though I don't know exactly when that's going to be released, but I'll get Saw Gerrera when that one gets solicited, because I got all the other Rogue One figures. No, it didn't. I forget when that's going to be released, so it may be a little too soon for something like that. I was kind of expecting them to go on and announce who was going to get the Transformer comic book license, but I guess they didn't want to announce who's going to be taking over the license, or even acknowledge that IDW lost the license while they're still promoting upcoming IDW comics. So I guess we'll have to wait a little bit longer to find out who's actually going to get that license. I see some of you guys are already talking about the Book of Boba Fett. What time is it? It's about 8. If that's what it says on the retail sites, but you got to, so keep in mind, you got to keep any kind of release dates these days. I mean, I've never taken release dates with toys super seriously, but especially these days, you got to take it with a grain of salt. So probably everything you're seeing. I mean, like take the Wave 32 figures. I think those are listed with a summer release date, but they're already hitting Target stores now. Now they're not hitting in full force. I doubt you're gonna, most of us are gonna walk into Target and likely see those, but they're starting to trickle out. We've been seeing that with GI Joe with the bats and the alley vipers. So you know that's how it's going to be, at least for a good while, where things are just going to slowly kind of trickle out, and like a retailer might get a partial shipment in, and so they'll start shipping them out to people much earlier than what they're listing on their website, but only to a few people because they're not gotten all their shipments in and such. So I think probably with everything we're seeing solicited right now, we'll probably see it sooner in some capacity before the release dates that are actually being listed, but how much so and such. So one thing, I've said this before, is don't get frustrated if you're not finding stuff. I know people, they'll go online, they see other people finding stuff and they start to get really frustrated. Don't, just realize that eventually you'll be able to get your hands on it, unless it's a store exclusive, then you might have a little more reason to be frustrated. But general releases, don't worry about being first to get it. Just pre-order it or secure it. Pre-order it if you happen to find it in a store. If you walk in your Target or something and you see it there, you can go cancel the pre-order. But you don't really have to stress about it. You'll get it eventually, and it's unless you're like a toy reviewer or something, you don't really need to worry about being the first person to get it. So that's my advice to everybody, including myself. And while I sit there and tell you that, I'm like, I mean, I'll be completely honest with you guys. I had a little weakness this week where I actually went onto eBay just to see what they were going for, the GI Joe classified Storm Shadow and the Spirit figure, because I'm like, man, I wish that would get in stock so it would arrive. But in Dorkside, I believe it was Dorkside that had gotten like one initial, a couple of shipments and sent them out to a few people. But I don't think anybody's found those figures at general retail, and most e-tailers haven't gotten them in either. But maybe Entertainment Earth got a few in too. I'm not sure, but I went to eBay just to see, and there was only actually one seller that was selling them, and they didn't have the buy me now function. It was just they were taking bids, and like the bids on the figures were like up to $160. I'm like, no way. No way. That was the wake up call I made. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to touch that, but I'm sitting here, man, I wish I had those figures. But I just got to be patient. They'll come. I have them on pre-order at Big Bad Toy Store. They will ship eventually. Oh, and speaking of, so I don't know how many of you have been watching the Peacemaker series on HBO Max. I didn't like the first couple episodes because I just thought the dumbness was way too much. It's grown on me since. But today's episode, Eagly, man, and I even said this on day one, Eagly is the best thing about that show. And after today's episode, I was like, first of all, I was starting to get really pissed. I'm not going to give spoilers on it, but I was starting to get really pissed when it looked like something was going to be happening. And, but I got to think, we got the Peacemaker figure from McFarlane Toys from the Suicide Squad movie, which, by the way, I ended up having to buy from a separate seller, his gun and holster. Somebody was making them. I spent $25 for it. It still hasn't arrived yet, but I spent $25. I mean, I spent more for the gun and the holster than I did the actual action figure. But I wanted, I thought it was important for the figure, and the work looked pretty good, so I ended up ordering that. But I got to think about, we need an Eagly, right? So I think when it eventually comes out, I'm going to buy probably 2 GI Joe classified Spirit figures and take the Freedom from one of them and give it to the Peacemaker figure for Eagly, because I feel like Eagly definitely needs a figure, and I'm not super confident that we're going to see that from McFarlane Toys. So somebody will probably make a 3D printed Eagly, I'm sure, but But I'm thinking, I might just buy a second Spirit from the G.I. Joe Classified line and use the freedom that comes with that, which looked like a really nice figure in its own right, and use that for my Peacemaker Eagly figure. And I'll give one to Cap too. Maybe we'll get a Capcom version that'll come with an eagle. Maybe that's what the 20th anniversary Captain America, he holds up the eagle in some of the scenes. So maybe that's what they'll throw. Maybe they'll throw in the Spirit Eagle, reuse the Spirit Eagle from the Classified line with the Captain America figure, and that's what the 20th anniversary one would be. Eagly is the best vigilante in the show as general or goal. I don't see McFarlane doing a lot of figures, if any, from the Peacemaker show, just because of the adult-oriented content of the show. However, if they did any, I could maybe see them doing Vigilante. I mean, obviously, we already got Peacemaker, and they're not going to give us a Peacemaker with a gun. So if they did another Peacemaker, maybe it'd be one of the different helmets. I could maybe see McFarlane doing that. But if they were to do any other figures from the Peacemaker series, Vigilante is probably the only one I would see. I wouldn't mind just a comic book-based Vigilante. But I'm not necessarily holding my breath on either of those. However, speaking of McFarlane Toys and DC Multiverse, just an FYI, if you're wanting to get your hands on the Arkham Knight figure that they previewed this week, or the Injustice 2 Green Arrow figure, those will be going up for pre-order tomorrow. So any of your favorite e-tailers, and most of the e-tailers will probably put it up tonight at midnight. So, and there's actually going to be a third figure that I don't think we've seen any images for, which is an Injustice 2 Reverse Flash figure. So that one we'll get our first look at tomorrow or / tonight at midnight. I'll be up at midnight so that I can post about that when it happens. I don't know if you guys will be up at midnight, but I will be. No. Damn, I love. We do not need a Liefeld inspired Captain America. Those boots that he drew on that with those humongous flaps. No, I don't need to see that in action figure form. From the boots up, his Captain America is not too bad, but those flaps on that boots. Now, he's drawn just regular Captain America, and then he did that variation, when they went into that different universe. I don't know which one you're referring to, but honestly, I could do without either one. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about Book of Boba Fett here. The season finale was yesterday, so we are going to talk some spoilers here. If you have not seen the show and you don't want it to be spoiled, I would recommend that you go on and tune out for the evening. Hopefully you've seen it, but I wanted to just share my thoughts on it and hear what you guys thought about the season finale of the Book of Boba Fett. So I posted about this a little bit earlier on my Facebook page, but overall, I did not hate the series. There were definitely parts about it that I liked, but I didn't think it was a fantastic series. Like, I thought The Mandalorian season 1 and season 2 was awesome. I mean, it wowed my socks off, especially at the end of season 2. It made me excited for Star Wars again. And that's really the bar, I guess you could say that I was holding the Book of Boba Fett to. Disney set a high bar with The Mandalorian, and so now I'm kind of like, every show's got to meet that bar, right? I don't know if that's realistic, but that's kind of how I view it. So, Victor, take it easy, man. Victor, I guess, hasn't seen it yet, so he's taking off. What's up, man? Just again, we're about to start talking spoilers for Book of Boba Fett, so if you haven't seen it, you probably want to go on and tune out. But anyway, so I thought I thought the show was okay, but I did not think it was great. There were also while there was some things I liked, there were also things I hated, like those damn super colored rainbow bright scooter bikes. I mean, I don't know what Favreau was thinking with that. I mean, it's just something that, I mean, we're talking about Tatooine, a desert planet. We've seen Tatooine in the prequels. We've seen Tatooine in the original trilogy. We've seen Tatooine, actually, did we see Tatooine in the sequel? Yeah, we saw Tatooine in the sequels. Ever once on Tatooine, have you ever seen something like that? No. So it's just not the type of planet where you would see little motor scooters brightly colored like that. It just I don't know why they did that, but it was just to me way out of place, and I thought that was pretty stupid. I didn't really like overall. I would have preferred had they kept Boba Fett as like kind of the bounty hunter type character, kind of the on his own as opposed to trying to take over Jabba the Hutt. I don't know. I just don't think it really worked that well for the character. Um, Grogu, as I called last week, took the armor. Not surprising. I don't think anybody was surprised that Grogu picked the armor over the lightsaber. And I felt like Luke kind of forcing him to make that choice after only being there with him a few weeks, when Grogu wasn't like somebody who wanted to be a Jedi. He just simply was told that he needed to be trained in order to protect himself, which I guess no longer applies. I guess he doesn't need to be trained anymore. So I felt like that was kind of out of place, making that I'm sure they wanted to get Grogu back into Mandalorian's hands so that he could be featured in the next season. But I feel like they should have kept Grogu out of things, for at least a season, gotten some serious training under his belt with Luke. And then, if they wanted to bring him back at a later date, they could. But I didn't really like that. So, and I mean, nobody was going to, under the circumstances, Grogu is confused, doesn't have a lot of his memories. Is essentially a very young kid, didn't want to necessarily be a Jedi, and having Luke be like, yeah, you've got to choose right now, which is it going to be? Anyone's going to pick, the father figure, right? They're not going to say, oh yeah, I want to stay with you in the scary place that I don't even really know who you are. In fact, you have to kind of think, if Grogu was getting his memories back, I mean, Grogu, based on what they established, was in the Jedi Temple when Anakin and his troops came into the temple and basically wiped everybody out. Anakin Skywalker, Luke Skywalker, I don't know. You might be like, yeah, dude, I don't really trust you at all. So I don't know. I felt like that didn't really come off very well. I liked the Luke. I liked, the CGI and all that. That didn't bother me. I thought the way they portrayed Luke was realistic. I didn't like how he made Grogu pick so soon after essentially arriving there on the planet to learn how to become a Jedi. And I think with the Boba Fett, I think people forget that the thing that made Boba Fett so cool, if we just went by what Boba Fett actually did in the original trilogy movies, he hardly did anything. He wasn't really ever that major of a player. He had like 3 speaking lines in the entire trilogy, I think. So it was always the mystery. I mean, obviously he wore a very cool looking armor, which was probably the most appealing thing, especially to young kids. But it was also just the mystery of the character that I think made him so appealing for so long. And so when you start peeling back those layers of mystery, I think it takes away from the overall character. The reason why I think the Mandalorian works so much better than Boba Fett is because he was a new character. He was a new entity. So, we didn't have these preconceived ideas about the character, and so it worked much better than with Boba Fett. The age thing, I do. I mean, it's not a major thing for me, but I still find it kind of weird. I don't think there's a viable explanation for why he looks so much different. In this series that's only a couple years after Return of the Jedi. the burntness of the skin, yeah, definitely. But just the much older looking. Well, I mean, we never saw his face under the armor, so we don't. I don't know how old Boba Fett was, but he definitely never came off as like an old man in the original movies, whereas now he does. And I mean, because the actor is getting up there in the age, but I just feel like, I as I said on Facebook, I feel like it would be like if they took the Mark Hamill and stuck him in his Return of the Jedi outfit. Mark Hamill is a today, a much older Mark Hamill, a little bit more heavy set, and you stuffed him in his Return of the Jedi outfit, and you put him in there with no CGI or anything, and you said, okay, this is Luke, a couple years after Return of the Jedi. You could come up with some excuses as to why he put on weight and looked older. It's been a rough time. He partied too much on Endor and was eating way too much. I mean, you could come up with so-called excuses to explain why he looks so much different than he did in Return of the Jedi. But at the end of the day, it would still come off looking very silly. And I kind of feel like that's what has ended up happening with Boba Fett. It didn't bother me as much in The Mandalorian, but in this series, I just didn't think it looked that great. I assume you mean like an action figure, since we already saw that in the actual show. But I'm assuming you, and that character originally appeared in the video games, I believe. That's actually not a new character. That Wookiee in the Book of Boba Fett's actually not a brand new character. Kind of like Cad Bane, they pulled it from other sources, and first time we're seeing it in a live action movie. And I'm sure we'll get an action figure of that Wookiee at some point. Oh, and that also was. I feel like, I mean, don't you think? I mean, look, and I guess you could say maybe that something like this happened off camera, but it wasn't really clear why Ahsoka had come to Luke's planet to begin with. But don't you think Luke being kind of in the situation he's in, where he's not really a true Jedi master, he's really a Jedi Knight, but yet he's in this position of being a Jedi master, trying to train these Jedi and everything. Don't you think he would be doing everything he could to try and convince Ahsoka to stay there with him and help him train the Jedi? Because Ahsoka is going to be a much more better trained Jedi than Luke is. Ahsoka's been a trained Jedi for years and years at this point, so she's truly much more Jedi master status than he is. And yet he's like, will I ever see you again? Yeah, maybe. But I mean, I feel like, there would be some push to get her to stay there and help him train Jedi. If she's come to meet him, if they've come to meet and everything, I feel like there really was no need to have her in the episode. It didn't really add anything. Dean, I'm doing good. Do I think in a few weeks we can get any pictures official from Marvel Legends Thor Love and Thunder figure? Probably not until we get a trailer. I wouldn't expect anything in the very near future. Probably not until the summer. Though off the top of my head, I forget what the release date of the movie is, but no, I don't expect that. I think we'll get a Marvel Legend fan channel or live stream this month sometime, but I don't think Thor Love and Thunder figures are going to be on the cards. She did, man, but that was at a different time when there were still other Jedi. She's still essentially a Jedi. I mean, you could certainly understand why she would be resistant to do it, but you should at least like showing Luke trying to convince her to stay. She might not do it for her own reasons, but that just came off odd to me. Well, Ahsoka is a Jedi. She didn't, she left the Jedi Order when there was a Jedi Order before it was wiped out. but she's every much a Jedi per se. She's, pretty much fully trained as a Jedi, and being that there aren't Jedi around anymore, she's needed now more than ever. So, if there was still a Jedi Council and a Jedi Order per se, then yeah, she left the Jedi Order, and obviously you wouldn't ask her to come back. But these are very different circumstances than when she left the Jedi Order in the Clone Wars series. So, and she's going to be much more experienced as a Jedi than Luke is, because again, Luke's went through a very crash course training, and then was thrust into, basically because he defeated Vader, or he didn't even really defeat Vader. Well, he did defeat Vader, but it was Vader that really defeated the Emperor. But because of that, Luke's now a Jedi Master. And I mean, I don't think it really works that way. You go through years of training and stuff, and Luke didn't get that. So Luke's, very much an inexperienced Jedi. And certainly not what would be deemed, I think, under normal circumstances, a Jedi Master. So I think she would have been very important to have around to help him in establishing a new Jedi Order, which was what his goal was. I wouldn't count on it. Hasbro's pretty tight on that. They keep a pretty tight lid on that stuff. The biker gang looks like something Disney specifically wanted to have in the series. As I understand it, I think it was actually Favreau who decided to put those in. So I don't know why, but I mean, maybe somebody at Disney thought that was a good idea. I don't know, but as I understand it, the idea actually came from Favreau. Well, we don't know that for sure. We don't know where he is, which is a little strange that Ahsoka's hanging out on Luke's planet and not, off with Sabine trying to find him. But I'm sure that will be explained at some point in the Ahsoka series, or at least I hope it will. Neil says he hopes Darth Maul appears in the Obi-Wan. Well, I don't know exactly what period. I mean, obviously, the Obi-Wan series is going to take place after Revenge of the Sith and before A New Hope. But keep in mind, Obi-Wan and Darth Maul had their final confrontation on Tatooine in the Rebels series. So I don't know, and I don't think they ever had any interact. I think it was pretty much said they didn't have interactions until that point in the Rebels series. So, Ezra led Maul to Obi-Wan, who was hiding out on Tatooine, and then Obi-Wan killed him. So Darth Maul, by the time A New Hope comes around, is 100% dead. Obviously we all thought he was dead in episode 1, and then he was resurrected, but he is 100% dead at this point. But I don't know exactly, in that time period between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, this Obi-Wan series is going to be taking place. But based on what we saw in the Rebels series, it would be kind of hard for them to have Darth Maul, at least have a confrontation with Obi-Wan. I guess he could appear somewhere else, but I don't know. I think obviously we're going to see Anakin and Vader, and I think that's going to be the crux of this show. But I don't know if I would expect to see Darth Maul, since they kind of had that happen in the Rebels series. And if you haven't seen that episode in the Rebels series, if you have Disney Plus, Rebels is on there. I recommend going and checking it out because it's a pretty good episode. Yeah, she left the Jedi Order, but she was a fully trained Jedi. And I would put to you that she was probably she left the Jedi Order because the Jedi Order was not really living up to its ideals as Jedi. she was probably more of a Jedi than many of the Jedi that were still there before they all got slaughtered. So I just, I would not call her a Jedi at this point. I'm not convincing anyone. I assume you mean about Ahsoka. Well, I consider her a Jedi. You guys can think what you want, but I consider her a Jedi. Oh snap! What Luke said about attachments kind of ruins Amara Jade appearance, and people. And do people think Yoda and Yaddle are the parents of Grogu? I don't think. I don't think so. I mean, I don't think Yoda and or I don't think Yoda and Yaddle were supposed to be dating. So, but I mean, you're right. Luke didn't give up his attachments. He ran off. He left his training and ran off to Bespin to save his friends, and then But I mean, again, putting while Luke didn't, Luke's kind of teaching, not practicing what he preaches because he's going by what he thinks is to be, is supposed to be, the training of a Jedi, which is supposed to be losing your attachments, but that never really seems to work well. I mean, I would even argue that Obi-Wan didn't totally give up his attachments. The guy who fixed up, well, he is apparently fixing up Cobb Vanth. I thought Cobb only got shot in the arm. I was when they like indicated he was dead. I was like, oh really? I thought it looked like he only got shot in the arm, but then we saw him in that after credit scene. So I guess he is definitely returning in some way. I mean, Maul's already half robot anyway. I'm not sure you could make him any more robot. I still think, and one of the things I was surprised is they didn't drop any like the guy that got killed by Fennec at the end, who was running things for the syndicate. I mean, that guy wasn't. I mean, that guy was like middle management. So I felt like there was a missed opportunity. They didn't give us any teasers on to who was actually pulling the strings for the syndicate. I really feel like bringing back the girl from the Solo Star Wars movie uh, would be a cool way to kind of bring that story back into focus. Since I don't think we're going to get a new Solo movie ever, um, I felt like, and I mean, they still could do that, but I feel like a teaser for that was kind of a missed opportunity. And I was a little disappointed in the whole showdown between Boba Fett and Cad Bane. That basically Fett really didn't even get a shot off, and it was only because I mean he did used I knew I also it was like if I felt like when he started to do that showdown, all of a sudden you saw the bantha stick on his back, like, and I hadn't seen it before, and it was like all of a sudden, well, there's his bantha stick. Um, so I had I wasn't surprised that he ended up using that to win the fight, but I feel like he should have at least gotten a shot off. Maybe it'll be Cobb Vanth, Robo Vanth. Yeah, the gaffy stick. Sorry, I forgot the actual name of the weapon. Cad's fast draw wasn't as strong as Boba's Tunkin Fu. Hooded Cobra Commander. I hope we see Embo live action at some point. So I forget off the top. Do we know when the next season of The Mandalorian is supposed to air? Is it the end of the year? Because I guess Obi-Wan's next in May. Just like a long ass. We're not going to get another Star Wars series until May. What's up, BJ? We're actually talking Book of Boba Fett with spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, you might want to go on and tune out. No one has ever really gone. Deep Thoughts by Oh Snap. What other classic bounty hunters that are still around would you like to see appear? I guess I kind of lose track on which ones are still around. I mean, Bosk and IG-80. Well, I guess maybe we saw a dead IG-88 in Cloud City, but Bosk and Zuckuss and Forlom and Dengar, I think, are all still alive, shouldn't they be? So I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing any of those guys reappear. Of course, for me, no, I have not heard other than the concept art they released a couple months ago. I've not heard anything more on that. So it will. I would imagine the solicitation will come up soon, but maybe later this month. Maybe they'll show off the actual figure around toy. For I don't know what they're doing for Toy Fair. Virtual Toy Fair, but maybe they'll show off the actual figure during that. So we might learn something later this month. But he I don't know, did he cuddle up or did he pass out? He like put the Rancor to sleep and then he kind of just passed out because he always wipes himself out when he uses the Force. But yeah, I mean it was a cute scene. And I mean the scene at the very end when he's like in the ship and he's like banging on the thing to go fast. I mean that was a funny scene. Though I am wondering, how much longer can they keep the whole baby act going? At some point, is Grogu ever going to actually talk? Tony, I did not. I debated, but I don't have like any of the other Jabba vintage collection playsets. So I decided to hold off on it, at least for now. I might waver and get it, but I mean, it is a hefty price. It's $230. I mean, it's a nice looking playset, but I don't know. But no, I've not yet ordered it, and I don't know if I will. Yeah, I believe Aurora was killed off in the Clone Wars series. In fact, if I remember correctly, I feel like she crashed in the Slave One, and I remember thinking, how is Slave One still around if Aurora Singh crashed and blew it up? But all right, well, it's getting on to be 8:30, so I think we are going to wrap it up today. But thanks once again for everyone chiming in tonight and checking things out. Probably will be doing a news video tomorrow. Almost definitely. So check that out if you haven't already. I'm just trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to tell you guys before we wrap it up, but I think we've covered everything. So, yeah. So once again, guys, thanks for stopping in. No end credits tonight. We're just going to cut things off here because we're going low tech tonight. But as always, guys, stay safe out there. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Until next time, I'll catch you later.